The capital of Xylaria shone like a jewel in the blackness of space. Towering spires stretched into the sky, reflecting the light of a nearby binary star system. Streets were bustling with ships, citizens, and machines that hummed with life. At the heart of this thriving city was the royal palace where Princess Elira prepared for a journey that would change her life forever. Elira was no ordinary princess. From the day she had been born, she had carried the weight of her people's expectations. She had been trained in diplomacy, history, and strategy. She could recite the laws of the galaxy in her sleep, and knew the secret routes of her planet better than most navigators. Yet despite her intelligence and skill, she had always felt a quiet fear, a whisper of uncertainty that never fully left her. This fear was partly what had made her cautious, and partly why she had always appreciated her mysterious childhood protector. She had never known his name. He had appeared when danger threatened her, always at the perfect moment. Whether it was a runaway hover car in the palace courtyard or a strange predator from the forests beyond the palace walls, he was always there to save her. She had never seen his face clearly, and he had vanished before she could speak to him. Over time, the memory of his presence became both comforting and haunting. Now at 16 cycles old, Elira was about to leave the palace for the first time on an official mission. She would travel to human colony Vera 9, a distant settlement known for its skilled engineers and unpredictable citizens. The humans were considered strange by Xylarians, powerful, inventive, and sometimes reckless, but essential for interstellar diplomacy. Elira's mission was simple in words but complex in meaning. She had to secure an alliance, ensure trade agreements, and maintain peace. As she walked through the palace's grand hall, Elira felt a mixture of excitement and tension. Her long violet hair shimmered under the golden lights, and her ceremonial uniform fit perfectly, displaying both elegance and authority. Around her, aides and attendants bustled, checking charts, adjusting her gear, and preparing the cruiser for departure. Yet Elira barely noticed them. Her mind was elsewhere. She paused at the window, looking out at the sprawling city below. Hovercrafts zipped between the towers, leaving streaks of light in their wake. Citizens waved as she passed, bowing in respect. Elira felt the familiar flutter of nervousness in her chest. She was stepping into a world she had only read about in reports and holovids. She was stepping into danger she could not fully predict. And she would do it without her mysterious protector, or so she thought. Princess Elira, a voice called softly. It belonged to her personal aide, Leora, who had been with her since childhood. The cruiser is ready. All preparations are complete. The human liaison has been notified and will meet you upon arrival. Elira nodded, forcing a calm smile. Thank you, Leora. I will need your guidance. Remember, nothing must go wrong on this mission. Every word and gesture matters, Leora bowed. Of course, Princess. I will remain at your side. You are ready for this, though, more than you realize. Elira nodded again, but her mind wandered to distant memories of her protector. She remembered a tall figure stepping through the mist, carrying her when she had fallen into the river during a palace excursion. She remembered the way he had shielded her from a sudden lightning storm on the high cliffs, and how his hand had always been steady and sure. Though she had never known his name, his presence had shaped her sense of courage and safety. She had often wondered if he was human or something else entirely. The palace gates opened and the royal cruiser awaited. Elira took a deep breath and stepped forward. The vehicle was massive, sleek, and silver, with engines that glimmered with energy. A team of pilots and engineers worked inside and around it, ensuring that everything was flawless. Elira climbed the stairs into the cabin, where plush seats and holographic displays made the interior both comfortable and highly functional. Princess Elira, welcome aboard, said the pilot, a calm Xylara male named Oren. All systems are checked. We are ready for immediate departure. Elira gave a brief nod. Thank you, Oren. Let us make this journey smooth and efficient. She fastened her seatbelt and activated her personal holocom. Charts of the human colony and data on recent trade activity flickered before her eyes. She studied them intently, memorizing details, planning for every scenario. As the engines roared to life, Elira felt a thrill. The cruiser lifted from the palace dock and glided above the city. Below, citizens looked up in awe as their princess departed. The stars stretched out before her, endless and mysterious, and Elira felt both a fear of the unknown and a deep curiosity about it. Hours passed as the cruiser sped through space. Elira moved from one holographic display to another, checking information on human culture, recent political developments, and potential threats. She was meticulous, precise, and determined. Yet beneath all her careful planning, a small part of her heart whispered a question. What if the humans are not what we expect? During the journey, Elira allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. She thought of the many lessons her protector had taught her, often without words, how he had shown her that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it, how he had reminded her that even the smallest decisions could ripple into great outcomes. She smiled faintly at the memory, wishing she could meet him again, though she had long accepted that it might never happen. As Xylaria faded into the distance and stars stretched infinitely before her, Elira's communicator beeped. A message appeared. Princess Elira, arrival at human colony Vera 9 confirmed. Liaison waiting at docking bay. Colonial command. Elira's heart quickened. The moment she had been preparing for had arrived. She adjusted her uniform and sat back, trying to steady her breathing. The humans were said to be unpredictable, clever, and sometimes dangerous. Every step she took in this new world would be scrutinized, every word measured, every gesture interpreted. Yet she felt ready. Or at least she wanted to believe she was. The cruiser entered the colony's orbit. Below, sprawling metal structures gleamed under artificial light. Hovercars zipped along designated paths and humans moved in organized chaos. It was unlike anything Elira had seen. Humans were taller than Xylarians on average, their features sharper, their expressions more expressive. They moved with confidence, not always careful, but with a raw energy that fascinated Elira. The docking procedure was smooth, and Elira's cruiser settled into place. As the hatch opened, a human stepped forward to greet her. Elira froze for a brief moment, not because of fear, but because of recognition. Something about the human's posture, the way he held himself, and the calm confidence in his eyes felt familiar. She blinked, forcing herself to focus. She was a princess on a diplomatic mission. She could not afford distractions. Yet in the back of her mind, memories stirred. Memories of a protector who had kept her safe in moments she had thought were hopeless. Could it be possible? The human smiled politely. Princess Elira, welcome to Vera 9. I am Captain Kale. I will be your escort and ensure your safety while you are here. Elira's breath caught. Kale. The name felt strange on her tongue. Yet the face, the stance, the aura, everything was hauntingly familiar. She forced a polite bow. Thank you, Captain Kale. I look forward to our cooperation. Kale inclined his head. It will be my honor, Princess. Please follow me. The colonists are eager to welcome you, and we have much to discuss. As Elira followed him down the docking bay, her mind raced. The city spread before her in a maze of light, metal, and motion. Humans moved with a purpose, yet they had an unpredictable edge she could not ignore. She reminded herself that this was her mission, her responsibility, and she could not falter. Not now, not ever. Yet, even as she focused on the diplomatic tasks ahead, a small, persistent thought refused to leave her mind. Could it really be him? Could my childhood protector, the one who had saved me countless times, truly be standing here in front of me as a human? Elira shook her head slightly, trying to push the thought away. She needed to remain composed. She was a princess, a leader, a diplomat. She could not let nostalgia or fear cloud her judgment. But deep inside, a spark of hope ignited. A spark that whispered that perhaps in this vast galaxy, some bonds were meant to last a lifetime, and so, with her heart beating faster than she expected, Elira took her first steps into the human colony, unaware that her past and future were about to collide in ways she could never have imagined. Princess Elira followed Captain Kale through the bustling streets of Vera 9, trying to keep her composure. The human colony was unlike anything she had studied in holovids. Towering structures of silver and chrome stretched toward the artificial sky. Hovercars zipped past, leaving streaks of light, and humans moved with an energy that was both chaotic and purposeful. Every movement seemed alive, every face told a story. Kyle walked confidently beside her, his posture straight, his eyes scanning constantly for threats. Elira couldn't help but notice the way he carried himself, calm, alert, and ready for anything. It was unnervingly familiar. Her chest tightened as her mind tugged at memories she had thought long buried. You must forgive the noise and chaos, Kyle said, his voice steady and calm. Humans tend to move quickly, and the colony has a lot of activity at this hour. but rest assured your safety is my priority." Elira nodded, keeping her expression polite. "I understand. I have read reports on your colony, but seeing it in person is overwhelming. There is a certain energy here I cannot fully explain." Kale glanced at her, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "You'll get used to it. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but they are also capable of great loyalty and courage. It's something you will see firsthand soon enough." Elira's mind raced. The words, the tone, the confidence, it all stirred something in her memory. There had been a human once, a long time ago, who had spoken with a similar calm authority, a human who had saved her in ways no one else could. She shook her head slightly, telling herself it was impossible. Memories of childhood heroes rarely crossed paths with adulthood. They reached a large plaza at the center of the colony. Hollow banners floated in the air, displaying messages of welcome for the princess. Citizens of the colony paused to watch her pass, some bowing slightly, others waving curiously. Elira could feel the eyes of the humans on her, their expressions a mixture of awe and friendliness. Kale gestured toward a sleek hover car waiting nearby. "This vehicle will take us to the governor's hall. The journey is short, but the roads can be unpredictable." "I will drive." Elira stepped inside, taking a seat beside him. The interior was surprisingly spacious, with controls that glowed softly under the dim light. Kale's hands moved confidently over the instruments, and the hover car lifted smoothly into the air. Elira watched the colony through the transparent canopy, noting the energy and ingenuity of the humans. "You seem familiar with hover vehicles," she remarked carefully. Kale glanced at her, raising an eyebrow. "I've spent a lot of time around them. They're a part of everyday life for us, and for someone of your importance, I make sure everything runs smoothly." Elira froze slightly. The phrase "for someone of your importance" echoed in her mind, stirring memories of a small figure she had once known, someone who had always appeared when danger threatened, without expecting thanks or reward. She pushed the thought aside, focusing on the task at hand. The journey continued in relative silence, broken only by the gentle hum of the hover car's engines. Elira studied Kale discreetly. His eyes moved constantly, scanning the colony, alert to every movement. There was a precision in his actions, a readiness she could not ignore. It reminded her of the protector from her childhood, the one who had never faltered in the face of danger. The hover car finally landed in front of the governor's hall, a massive structure of polished metal and glowing lights. Guards lined the entrance, saluting as Elira stepped out. Kale remained close, his presence reassuring. Inside the hall, Elira was greeted by Governor Marin, a tall human with a friendly smile. "Princess Elira, it is an honor to welcome you to Vera 9. We hope your stay is pleasant and that your mission is successful." "Thank you, Governor," Elira replied politely. "I am honored to be here. I hope this visit strengthens the bond between our worlds." The governor nodded and gestured toward Kale. "Your escort has been excellent so far. I trust he will continue to ensure your safety." Elira felt a strange pull in her chest. The connection between Kale and her childhood protector was growing stronger with every passing moment. She tried to focus on diplomacy, on the mission, but her thoughts kept drifting to memories of a small, vigilant human who had always been there when she needed him most. After the formalities, Kale led Elira to her quarters within the hall. The room was spacious and comfortable, with a large window overlooking the colony. Elira sat on the edge of the bed, taking a deep breath. "You seem thoughtful," Kale remarked, standing near the door. "Is there something on your mind, Princess?" Elira hesitated, then shook her head. "No, just the usual. Adjusting to new environments takes time." Kale nodded, understanding in his eyes. "I know. Humans are different, yes. But different does not mean dangerous. I've seen humans do incredible things, and I think you will see that too." Elira's mind flashed to another memory, of a time when she had faced a sudden threat alone, and someone had appeared without warning, saving her. That person's skill and calmness had seemed almost magical. Could it be that this human, Kale, was the same one? Her heart beat faster at the thought, but she pushed it away. She had to remain composed. The next day, Elira was scheduled to attend several meetings with the colony leaders. Kale accompanied her everywhere, observing quietly, ready to intervene if necessary. During one meeting, a dispute arose between two human officials over resource allocation. Voices grew loud. Tension filled the room, and Elira felt a spark of worry. Kyle leaned slightly toward her, whispering, "Stay calm. Watch carefully. Humans often speak loudly, but it does not always mean danger." Elira nodded. His advice was precise, reassuring. She felt the familiar comfort of someone protecting her, guiding her. A strange warmth spread through her chest, both recognition and relief. By the afternoon, Elira was allowed a brief walk through the colony markets. Humans sold intricate devices, food from distant planets, and curious gadgets that fascinated her. Kale stayed nearby, scanning the crowd for threats as he had done countless times in her memories. Suddenly, a small commotion erupted near a market stall. A malfunctioning robot surged toward the crowd, sparks flying. People screamed and scattered. Elira froze, her heart racing. Instinctively, she reached for cover, but before she could move fully, Kyle was there. In a fluid motion, he grabbed the robot and redirected it, protecting Elira and several bystanders. His movements were precise, calm, and efficient, exactly as she remembered from her childhood. For a brief moment, time seemed to slow. Elira's mind raced. Every action, every instinct, every gesture screamed familiarity. She blinked, stunned. Could it be? No, it was impossible, or was it? Kale looked at her, his eyes scanning for additional threats. "Are you all right, Princess?" he asked, his tone steady and calm. Elira nodded, though her mind was racing. "Yes, thank you. You're welcome." "It is my duty," he replied simply, as if that explained everything. As they continued their walk, Elira's thoughts returned to her childhood memories, the figure who had always appeared at the right time, the hands that had saved her countless times, the calm and confidence that had always comforted her. It was him. She was certain now. Captain Kyle, her human escort, was her childhood protector. Her mind froze with realization, and a mix of shock, disbelief, and wonder filled her. How could it be? Why had no one told her? Why had he never revealed himself? Questions swirled in her mind like a storm. But she forced herself to remain composed in public. She was a princess after all. The walk ended at a quiet garden behind the governor's hall. Elira took a moment to breathe, letting the sun, or the artificial daylight, warm her face. Kale stood nearby, silent but alert. Finally she spoke, her voice low, almost trembling. "Kale, He looked at her, waiting patiently, sensing her hesitation. "Yes, Princess." Elira shook her head slightly, trying to steady her thoughts. "It is strange. You were always there, when I was a child. My protector. It was you, wasn't it?" Kale's eyes softened, a small, almost imperceptible smile appearing. "Yes, I was assigned to ensure your safety. I could not reveal myself openly, but I watched over you. Always." Elira's mind reeled. The pieces fit together perfectly. The rescues, the guidance, the calm presence in dangerous moments. She had never imagined that her protector was human, that he had been here all along, protecting her quietly. A new understanding settled in her heart. This human, unpredictable and clever as he was, had been her guardian all along, and now, standing in front of her, he was no longer just a memory, he was real, present, and ready to face whatever challenges awaited them both. Elira's mission had just become more complicated, yet strangely easier. With Kale by her side, she felt a renewed sense of courage. She realized that the humans were not merely allies. They could be heroes, capable of loyalty and bravery that rivaled any Xylarian tradition. And so, as the sun cast long shadows over the garden, Elira looked at Kale and knew that the future held unexpected challenges and extraordinary possibilities. The day began like any other in the human colony. Elira walked alongside Kale through the central plaza, her eyes taking in the bustling markets, hovercars, and humans moving with energetic precision. She felt a strange mixture of familiarity and caution. She knew now that Kale, her escort, had once been her childhood protector. That realization weighed heavily on her mind, but she could not dwell on it. There were duties to perform, meetings to attend, and a delicate balance of diplomacy to maintain. "Princess Elira," Kyle said calmly, his eyes scanning the area. "I suggest we review the trade agreements before the council meeting." "It is better to be fully prepared," Elira nodded. His words carried the same calm authority she remembered from her childhood, the same ability to reassure her even when danger seemed imminent. She followed him to a quiet chamber, where a large holomap displayed the various human settlements and trade networks across several star systems. As they studied the map, a sudden alarm echoed through the colony. Red lights flashed across the streets and buildings, and the colony-wide communication system crackled with urgent messages. Elira's heart skipped a beat. She had studied security protocols, she had trained for emergencies, but nothing prepared her for the feeling of real danger rushing toward her. Kyle's eyes narrowed. "Stay close, Princess. Do not panic. I will handle this." Without hesitation, he activated his comlink, speaking rapidly in a language Elira barely understood. Within moments, security drones hovered above the plaza, and guards moved to strategic positions. The chaos outside grew louder. Citizens shouted, some fled, and a group of heavily armed mercenaries emerged from a transport ship. Weapons raised, Elira froze. Her mind struggled to process the scene. She recognized the danger immediately. These were not ordinary criminals, they were skilled, organized, and well-equipped. She felt a cold shiver run down her spine. Her childhood memories surged forward, unbidden. The feeling of helplessness she had once known returned, and she realized she could trust no one but Kale. Kale stepped forward, positioning himself between Elira and the attackers. His movements were precise, almost rehearsed, yet fluid, natural, and unhesitating. He blocked a sudden energy blast from one of the mercenaries with a reinforced shield, his body moving instinctively to protect her. Elira's eyes widened as she recognized the stance, the speed, and the exact movements she had seen in her childhood protector. Time seemed to slow for Elira. Her heart pounded in her chest, and she felt as if the world around her had narrowed to just 2 points, herself and Kyle. Everything else, the shouting, the chaos, the flying debris, faded into the background. It's him, she thought, frozen in disbelief. He has always been here. He is my protector. Kale's voice broke through her thoughts.
"Princess, stay behind me."
"Move only if I tell you," she nodded, barely breathing. His calmness contrasted sharply with the panic in the air, and she felt the same reassurance she had always felt as a child. He was not just skilled. He was extraordinary. The mercenaries advanced, firing with precise coordination. Kale moved with unmatched speed, deflecting attacks, disarming enemies, and keeping Elira safe. Each movement, each decision, displayed an instinctive brilliance she had long admired but never fully understood. She realized now that the protector she had trusted as a child was the same man before her. Her mind swirled with memories, moments of fear transformed into safety, moments of helplessness replaced by courage. All of it had led to this moment. Despite the chaos, Elira's analytical mind observed everything. She noticed the patterns in Kale's defense, the way he anticipated attacks, the precision of his strikes. She realized that humans, unpredictable as they might appear, could be as heroic and disciplined as any Xylarians, if not more so when lives were at stake. Kale was living proof of this. The mercenaries pressed forward, more determined than ever, but Kale's skill seemed limitless. He used the environment to his advantage, ducking behind walls, flipping over obstacles, and using energy pulses to disable weapons without harming anyone nearby. Elira's awe grew with every move. She had admired him as a child from afar, and now, seeing him in action as an adult, her admiration intensified. In a brief moment of calm, one of the mercenaries attempted to reach Elira directly, slipping past Kale's defenses. Elira's instinct screamed, and she moved instinctively to intercept, but Kale's hand was faster. He grabbed her gently but firmly, pulling her out of harm's way just as a blast struck the spot where she had been standing moments before. Elira froze completely, her chest tight with emotion. He saved me again, just like before. Every time he has been there. Kale's eyes met hers, and for a fraction of a second she saw a flicker of recognition, understanding, and calm. "Are you all right, Princess?" he asked, his voice steady even amid the chaos. I am," Elira stammered. Her voice barely carried over the noise. She felt the weight of reality pressing down on her. This human, this man, had been her protector all along. He had watched over her, guided her, and ensured her safety, all without her knowing. The realization was both overwhelming and profoundly moving. The mercenaries regrouped for one final assault, but Kale anticipated it, positioning Elira behind a protective barrier and confronting them head-on. His strategy was flawless. Using a combination of energy pulses, tactical maneuvers, and calculated strikes, he neutralized the attackers without unnecessary risk to anyone. Within minutes, the threat was eliminated, and the plaza fell silent except for the distant hum of emergency systems. Elira slowly exhaled, her body trembling from the adrenaline. She looked at Kale, and the truth hit her fully. The childhood protector she had revered and wondered about for years was standing alive and strong before her. She had never imagined that her hero would be human, that he would have grown into this incredible man, skilled beyond imagination, and still loyal to her after all these years. Kale turned to her, his expression calm but attentive. "You are safe now, Princess. The threat has been neutralized." Elira nodded, words failing her. Her mind raced with questions. How had he come to be assigned as her protector? Why had no one told her? How many times had he saved her without her knowing? Yet in that moment, all she could feel was gratitude, relief, and a sense of awe that made her heart swell. The citizens of the colony began to emerge from hiding, murmuring and looking at the princess and her human protector with newfound respect. Elira realized that Kale had not only saved her, but had demonstrated the courage and loyalty of humans to everyone present. The humans of Vera 9, she thought, were capable of remarkable heroism. Kale's hand remained near hers, not touching, but ready to protect. Elira's mind wrestled with her emotions. Shock, recognition, gratitude, and admiration collided within her. She realized that the humans whom her people often underestimated were capable of loyalty, skill, and bravery that rivaled even the finest Xylarians. And Kale was the living embodiment of that truth. As Elira stood in the plaza, surrounded by the quiet murmurs of citizens and the hum of emergency systems, she felt a new understanding take root. Her childhood protector had returned, not just as a memory but as a man, a hero, and an ally in a galaxy filled with uncertainty. She had long wondered about the strength and courage of humans, but now she had seen it firsthand. She took a deep breath, letting the adrenaline fade, and finally found her voice. "Kyle, you were my protector," she said softly, her eyes searching his. Kale's gaze softened and a faint smile appeared on his lips. "Yes, Princess. I was assigned to ensure your safety. I watched over you always. Even when you did not know it, I was there." Elira's chest tightened with emotion. She could no longer see him merely as a human escort. He was the person who had shaped her sense of safety, courage, and trust, the one who had saved her countless times. And now, standing before her, he was real, alive, and unwavering. For the first time, Elira allowed herself to believe that humans could be heroes in the truest sense. And for the first time, she realized that her future, her mission, and her life were bound to this extraordinary man, her childhood protector, in ways she could not yet fully understand. And as the sun, or the artificial daylight, cast long shadows across the plaza, Elira knew that the galaxy would never feel quite the same again. The plaza was quiet now, the last echoes of the mercenary attack fading into the hum of the colony's emergency systems. Citizens peeked from behind market stalls and buildings, their eyes wide with awe as they watched Princess Elira and Captain Kale. For the first time, they saw humans not just as allies but as heroes, capable of loyalty and courage beyond expectation. Elira's mind, however, was far from calm. She stood in the middle of the plaza, staring at Kale. Shock, disbelief, and wonder had given way to a torrent of questions. How had he been assigned as her protector? How many times had he saved her in secret? Why had he never revealed himself until now? She wanted answers, but she also wanted to understand him. Not as a human escort, but as the man who had shaped her sense of courage. Kale noticed her hesitation and stepped closer, his movements calm and measured. "Princess, I know this is a lot to take in," he said softly. "You have every right to be confused. I will explain everything if you are willing to listen." Elira nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "Yes, I need to understand." Kyle led her to a quieter part of the plaza, a small garden designed for reflection and strategy. Hollow lights cast a soft glow on the plants and fountains, and the chaos of the colony seemed far away here. Elira sat on a low bench, her eyes fixed on Kale as he began to speak. "I was assigned to you when you were very young," Kale began. "The galaxy is a dangerous place, and the royal family of Xylaria faced threats that were not always visible. My orders were clear: protect the young princess, ensure her safety, and remain unseen whenever possible." Elira listened intently, the memories of her childhood rushing back. The sudden rescues, the mysterious interventions, the feeling of safety she had always carried. Everything suddenly made sense. She felt a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. Cale continued, I could not reveal myself openly, not even to you. My presence had to remain a secret. I watched from the shadows, intervening only when necessary. Every time you were in danger, I acted. You may not remember all of it, but I was there. Elira's chest tightened. All those times? You saved me, and I never knew. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. She felt the weight of the past. The many moments she had thought were accidents or coincidences. None of them had been. Cale's eyes held a quiet intensity. It was my duty, Princess. My loyalty was to you, not for recognition, but because I believed in your potential. You have always been destined for great things, and I was honored to be part of your journey, even from the shadows. Elira felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, though she fought to keep them from falling. The realization that this human had been protecting her for years without any reward or acknowledgement filled her with a profound sense of respect and gratitude. She could see now that his courage, skill, and loyalty were extraordinary, even beyond what her people might have expected from humans. Kyle glanced around the garden, ensuring they were not observed, then continued. You may also wonder why I am here now. The colony is important, but your mission is delicate. Threats remain, and I cannot let anything happen to you. I am here not just as your protector, but as your ally in diplomacy, strategy, and safety. Elira nodded slowly, absorbing his words. She realized that her trust in him, which had been instinctive as a child, could now be renewed with full understanding. She felt a new bond forming, stronger and more conscious than ever before. Cale, she said finally, her voice steady, I trust you, not just because you saved me, but because I see who you are. You are brave, skilled, and loyal in ways I never imagined possible. Cale's expression softened, a rare flicker of emotion breaking through his disciplined demeanor. Thank you, Princess. Your trust means more to me than you know. I will not fail you. For the next few hours, they walked through the colony together, discussing strategy, potential threats, and the upcoming council meetings. Elira observed the humans around her with new eyes, noticing their ingenuity, courage, and resourcefulness. She realized that her people's cautious views of humans had been incomplete. Humans were not just clever, they were capable of heroism, loyalty, and determination that rivaled even the most disciplined Xylarians. During a quiet moment in the market square, a young human approached Elira. Princess, he said nervously, thank you for coming. Your presence gives us hope. We've heard of your bravery and wisdom, and we are honored to welcome you. Elira smiled warmly, nodding. It is my honor as well. I am here to learn, to understand, and to work together with all of you. Kyle watched the interaction closely, standing slightly behind her. His presence was reassuring, a silent promise of safety. Elira felt the familiar comfort of his protection, but now it was coupled with understanding and respect. She could rely on him not just for safety, but for insight, strategy, and guidance. As the day turned to evening, Elira and Cale returned to her quarters. The attack had left the colony shaken, and they needed to plan for potential follow-up threats. Elira reviewed reports while Cale monitored communication channels for any signs of unusual activity. Princess, Cale said after a moment, I must be honest. The attack earlier may not have been random. There are factions in the galaxy that would benefit from destabilizing our alliance. We must remain vigilant, Elira nodded, her mind alert. I understand. We cannot underestimate the humans or any potential threat. But I also see now that humans, when united and brave, can be incredible allies. I believe we can overcome anything if we work together. Kyle looked at her, admiration clear in his eyes. You are wise beyond your years, Princess. That is why I have always believed in you. A silence settled between them, comfortable and filled with mutual respect. Elira realized that her bond with Cale had evolved from childhood reliance to conscious trust. She no longer saw him merely as her protector. She saw him as a partner, a guide, and a friend whose skill and loyalty transcended species and expectations. Later, as night fell over the colony, Elira stood at her window, looking out at the lights below. Cale remained nearby, reviewing data silently. She reflected on the day's events, the attack, Cale's skill, and the moments of revelation. She felt a deep appreciation for the human beside her, Realizing that courage and loyalty were not limited by species but defined by action, choice, and heart, Kale finally spoke softly, breaking the quiet. Princess, tomorrow's council meeting will be critical. Allies and rivals will test us. But I believe in your strength, and I will be here to support you every step of the way. Elira turned to him, her eyes meeting his. I know you will, Kale, and I will trust my instincts as I always did. With you by my side, I feel ready for whatever comes next. Kyle nodded, a faint smile on his face. Then we face it together. Always. As Elira prepared for rest, her thoughts lingered on the journey ahead. She knew that challenges awaited, not just from rival factions or political rivals, but from the very nature of the galaxy itself. Yet she also knew that she had the strongest ally she could imagine, the human who had been her protector since childhood, whose courage, loyalty, and skill surpassed even her highest expectations. For the first time, Elira felt a complete sense of clarity and purpose. Her childhood memories had led her to this moment, and now, with Kale at her side, she could face the future with courage, determination, and trust. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous, but she was not alone, and as the lights of Vera 9 shimmered below and the stars stretched endlessly above, Elira allowed herself a moment of hope. The bond between her and Kale had been forged in secrecy, tested by danger and strengthened by understanding. Together they would face the challenges ahead, and in doing so, Elira knew that humans, and the power of loyalty and courage, would leave an enduring mark on her world and the galaxy beyond. The stars above Vera 9 shimmered faintly, casting a soft glow over the colony. Princess Elira stood on the balcony of her quarters, looking out over the city below. The events of the past days had changed everything. She had discovered the truth about Captain Kale, that he had been her childhood protector, the one who had quietly saved her countless times. She had seen his courage firsthand, and she now understood the strength of humans in a way she never had before. But peace was fleeting. A new threat had emerged on the outer rim of the galaxy. Intelligence reports indicated that a coalition of rogue factions, fueled by greed and ambition, was planning an attack on both Xylaria and the human colonies. Their goal was to destabilize interstellar alliances and seize control of key resources. Elira knew that her mission was no longer just diplomatic. It had become a battle for survival. Kale appeared beside her quietly. Princess, the Council has confirmed the threat. Ships are being mobilized, defenses strengthened. But this is not a small skirmish, this is a coordinated strike. We will need every ally we can find. Elira nodded, her mind sharp and focused. Then we must unite our forces. Xylaria and humans must act as one. We cannot let fear or prejudice divide us now. Kyle placed a reassuring hand near hers, not touching but close enough to remind her of his presence and protection. Elira drew strength from it as she had done since childhood. We face this together, she said firmly, as allies, as partners, and as defenders of our people. Within hours, Elira and Kale convened a council with human leaders, military strategists, and Xylara diplomats. The room was tense, filled with maps, star charts, and communication feeds showing fleet movements across the galaxy. Elira addressed the council with clarity and authority. We face a threat unlike any before, she said. Our enemies seek to exploit divisions between humans and Xylarians. But together, we are stronger than they realize. We must combine our strengths, our knowledge, and our courage to protect our worlds. The council members listened intently. Humans, known for their ingenuity and unpredictability, brought forward new strategies. Xylarians offered advanced technology and disciplined coordination. Kale spoke alongside Elira, his experience and insight guiding the discussion. Every suggestion was weighed, every plan analyzed. Elira felt a deep respect for humans, not only for their bravery but also for their ability to adapt and innovate under pressure. As night fell, the fleets prepared to depart. Elira boarded a command vessel with Kale at her side. The ship hummed with energy, engines ready to propel them into the heart of danger. Elira felt her pulse quicken. She had faced threats before, but this was different. This was a battle that could change the galaxy itself. Princess, Kale said softly, we must remain vigilant. Our enemies will strike where we are weakest. But remember, they underestimate humans at their peril. Elira smiled faintly, feeling a surge of confidence. And they will learn, she replied. They will see that courage and loyalty transcend species. Together we are unstoppable. The fleets engaged the enemy near a dense asteroid field. The rogue faction's ships were fast and heavily armed, striking with precision and aggression. But Elira and Kale's forces had the advantage of planning, coordination, and unity. Xylarians provided shielding and heavy firepower, while humans executed daring maneuvers that outsmarted the enemy at every turn. Elira watched from the command deck as Kale directed the movements of smaller human squadrons. His tactical genius shone in every decision. He anticipated enemy attacks, coordinated counterstrikes, and ensured that civilians and allies were safe. Elira felt the same awe she had experienced during the mercenary attack in the colony. He was not just a protector, he was a hero, a leader, and a strategist. The battle raged across the asteroid field, laser fire streaking through the darkness of space. Explosions rocked the enemy lines and ships twisted and turned to avoid collisions. Elira's heart pounded with adrenaline, but she remained calm, her mind focused on the bigger picture. Every move she made, every command she gave was supported by Kale's guidance. At a critical moment, the enemy fleet attempted a flanking maneuver, hoping to overwhelm the combined forces. Kale identified the weak point instantly. "Princess, we must split our forces. I will lead the humans to intercept the flank. You coordinate the Xylarians to hold the center." Elira nodded without hesitation. "Understood. Let's move." Kale's squadron leapt into action, weaving through asteroid clusters with daring agility. They struck the enemy from unexpected angles, disabling key vessels while minimizing casualties. Elira coordinated with Xylarian commanders, using shields and firepower to hold the line. The combined strategy was flawless. Humans and Xylarians fought as one, each complementing the other's strengths. During the climax of the battle, a massive enemy cruiser broke through the defenses, heading straight for Elira's command vessel. The crew panicked, but Kale remained calm. He piloted a small fighter through the chaos, intercepting the cruiser with precision. Using a combination of tactics, Kale disabled the cruiser's engines and neutralized its weapons. Elira watched in awe as the man who had once saved her as a child now saved countless lives across the battlefield. The enemy forces, seeing their strongest units disabled, began to retreat. Elira ordered the fleets to pursue, ensuring the rogues could not regroup. By the time the battle ended, the combined forces had secured a decisive victory. Ships floated in space, some damaged but all allies accounted for. Elira felt a rush of relief and triumph. As the fleets regrouped, Elira turned to Kale, her eyes shining with gratitude and admiration. "You were incredible," she said softly. "Just as you were when I was a child." Kale's expression softened. "It is my duty, Princess. But I could not have done it without the courage and skill of your people. We fought as one, and that is what made the difference." Elira nodded, a deep sense of respect and pride filling her. She realized that her admiration for Kale had evolved into something greater. She had seen humans at their best, their ingenuity, bravery, and loyalty, and she knew that the galaxy would be stronger with alliances like this. Returning to Vera 9, the colony celebrated the victory. Citizens cheered as Elira and Kale landed, recognizing their heroism. The story of their courage spread quickly, inspiring humans and Xylarians alike. Elira felt a profound sense of hope. She had discovered the strength of humans, renewed her trust in Kale, and forged alliances that would shape the future of the galaxy. In a private moment, Elira and Kale stood on the balcony of the governor's hall, looking at the city lights below. "We did it," Elira said, a smile touching her lips. "We protected our people, and we showed the galaxy what humans and Xylarians can achieve together." Kale nodded. "Yes, Princess. And this is only the beginning. There will be more challenges ahead, but together we are ready." Elira turned to him, her eyes reflecting the stars above. "I see now that courage, loyalty, and heroism are not limited by species. You have shown me that humans are capable of greatness, and I will carry that knowledge forward in everything I do." Kale's gaze softened, a faint smile forming. "And you have shown me that leadership is not just about power, but about trust, understanding, and the willingness to inspire others. I am honored to serve by your side, Princess." Elira felt a warmth in her chest, a mixture of gratitude, respect, and hope for the future. She realized that the bond between them, forged in secrecy and tested by danger, had grown into something unbreakable. Together they could face any threat, overcome any obstacle, and shape a galaxy united by courage and trust. As the night stretched over Vera 9, Elira looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous, but she knew that with Kale by her side, humanity and Xylaria could face anything. The past, present, and future had converged in this moment, and Elira felt ready for all that lay ahead. And so, as the lights of the colony shimmered below and the stars stretched endlessly above, Princess Elira understood that heroes could come in any form, and that trust, courage, and loyalty could bridge worlds. With Kale at her side, she was not just a princess. She was a leader, a diplomat, and a symbol of unity between species. The galaxy had witnessed her courage, and together with humans like Kale, they would continue to shape its destiny. The story of Princess Elira and her protector had come full circle. The child who had once feared the unknown had grown into a leader who understood the strength of allies, the value of courage, and the power of trust. And as she stood on that balcony, looking at the galaxy, she knew one truth above all. Together, humans and Xylarians could achieve greatness that no enemy could ever destroy.